Chris's message said casual and comfortable, so she wore jeans. Apparently, it threw Billy for a loop, if the astonished look on his face was any indication, though he quickly composed himself and opened the back door of the SUV, hand outstretched to help her inside. Sophia waited until he was behind the wheel before asking her question. "Do you know where we're going?" "I programmed the directions into the GPS," he replied. "We should be there in about 20 minutes. Sophia nodded and settled into the seat, watching the world fly by outside the window. This was her third date with Chris. It had surprised her when he wanted to meet the second time, and she was downright astonished there would be a third. The second date had been a lot like the first, dinner and drinks in his hotel room, followed by the two of them getting to know each other. It had been nice, almost like an actual date. At the end of the evening, he'd even given her a chaste kiss on the cheek, even after she reiterated that she would not sleep with him. He'd merely smiled and held the door open for her. She convinced herself that would be the end of it, that he wouldn't call again. She had no plans to have sex with him, and she was holding firm. But late yesterday afternoon, she received an email from Georgia, asking her to meet with Chris again. She had reluctantly agreed. She wondered if he thought maybe he could convince her to sleep with him if he just kept trying. Too bad he didn't realize there was no chance of that happening. She'd learned her lesson about intimacy in this profession the hard way. Georgia emailed her the information about the date in the morning. Clients could not have the escort's contact information. All contact was to be initiated through private lives, including a personal note asking her if she wanted to see Chris again. She did. Her curiosity had gotten the best of her. She had to know what he was up to. And not that she would ever admit it, but she enjoyed Chris's company. He had a wicked sense of humor, he was extremely intelligent, and of course, he was astonishingly attractive. She'd had a good time on their second date, so why not give the third one a try? At least, that's what she kept telling herself. Sophia pushed a hand through her hair and sighed. She was dying to tell Sasha about Chris, but it was strictly forbidden under the terms of the non-disclosure agreement. While Sasha knew what she did for a living, she had no idea whom Sophia dated, and it had to stay that way. If she needed someone to talk to, she was supposed to call Georgia. Billy turned off the main road onto a 2-lane road lined with trees, following it for about 10 miles before turning again onto a dirt road for another 5 minutes before pulling into a small clearing. He shifted into park, sat back, and looked at her in the rearview mirror. "We're here, Miss Sophia." He smiled. Out the window, she could see a dark blue BMW parked off to one side. Chris was sitting on a picnic table, staring out over a small meadow. He turned when he heard the car, a smile brightening his face. "Sophia, hi." He waved as she stepped from the vehicle, jumped off the table, and jogged over to her. "Thank you for coming." "You're welcome," she replied. "How are you?" Chris shrugged. "Okay, I guess. I hope you don't mind this location. It's private, quiet. I thought we could go for a hike and have a picnic." He pointed to a cooler on the ground and held his hand out to her. She took it and smiled. "That sounds lovely." No one had ever made her a picnic before. It was sweet. She turned to wave and smile at Billy as he pulled away. He didn't look happy. Chris scooped up the cooler and led her through the trees down a narrow path, ducking to avoid tree branches over her head. "How was your week?" she asked. "Long," he sighed. "I'm glad it's over." "Anything you want to talk about?" He glanced at her out of the corner of his eye, opened his mouth, shut it again, then he was spilling his guts about the week he'd had. He talked as they hiked up the path, eventually coming to a stop beneath a beautiful tree where he laid out a blanket and set out the food. Sophia didn't know how he did it, living in the spotlight the way he did.